in my personal experiences, sometimes I enter a room and I feel too anxious to just say anything because I feel that I might say something stupid, or I might say something ignorant, or, I might not be aware of. So what do you think, Divyam? Does knowledge gathering, or, I feel that the more knowledge you have, the more attention you pay towards knowing yourself better, I think your communication skills get better through that. So do you agree?
Definitely, yes. This has to do with comfort. It has to do with your ability to uh, deliver something. That could be a sentence, it could be a speech, it could be a presentation, whatever it is. So if you feel like you can't do it, then regardless of whether you are actually well equipped, if you have all the information, if you're prepared, if you keep telling yourself, okay, I am going to make a mistake, I am going to fumble, then your mind focuses on something that is like, I think a really famous person, Simon Sinek, I don't know if anyone's heard of him. He kept saying that, when people are skiing down a hill, right? What they do is there are some people who focus on certain things like, okay, don't hit the trees. So when they say that, in their mind, they only look at the trees,
Yeah.
right? But the experts, the people who are competing professionally, they are saying stay on the path, right? So they only see the path. So when they see the path, they can already anticipate the turns coming in. They don't focus on the trees. They don't even know the trees are there, honestly. Like
Yeah.
peripheral vision and all they can see. So it's like what he says is you cannot contemplate the negative. Like if I tell you right now, in your mind, don't think of an elephant. The first thing that comes to your mind is an elephant,
Yeah.
right?
That's true.
Similarly, when you are trying to express confidence and experience is something that you need to gain. I know it's like a loop where it's like, how nowadays in job offers, you're like, okay, to get an entry level job, you need 4 years experience. But then to get 4 years experience, you need an entry level job. So it's like a loop. So I do get it. But life experiences and everything are really important because this is what helps you, streamline your thoughts and understand that hey, it's okay to make mistakes. It'll be worse if you don't make mistakes and if you don't start right now,
Hmm.
because 1 year down the line your skill level will be the same, but you just realize that okay, I just wasted another year.
Yeah. Yeah. I completely agree. It's like again, another really famous quote that the grass is greener where you water it. So if you pay more attention to the mistakes, you will make more mistakes. And also there's this thing uh, that I've heard that when you're learning something, you sort of have to understand that the obstacles and the challenges are the path towards learning something. So you shouldn't treat them as something that is just you should be okay with being uncomfortable, because discomfort tends to that is why when a lot of people start learning something, they just give up in the beginning, because the beginning is the hardest, but they don't know that you just have to, that is like the biggest hump that you have to cross in order to learn something. So I think, yeah. So if I have to ask you, like both of you, if a learner, or if someone asks you that what are just some broad steps that I should take in order to overcome this anxiety within not exactly a timeline, but what are some like very broad steps that you would suggest them? Keesha, you can go ahead.
Yeah. So, the first thing I would do is focus on what you need to say. Don't focus on the people that are listening, because you can only worry about what you need to say. You can't worry about how they're going to react. So worry about the things that are in your control, what you have to say, how you're going to say it. Focus on that. Don't focus on the reaction. Many people usually freeze when someone laughs or someone shifts, in their seat, or they just react in any way. So don't focus on that, because that's not in your control. But what you have to say, what you have to present, that's what you should focus on first. And the second thing that I would definitely want someone to actually take up is prepare yourself a little better. So the situations you're going to face, the circumstances you're going to face, what your meetings look like, what your updates look like, how your calls with your clients go. So work on situations like that, so what it's going to look like. So come up with sentences that you can use, then come up with vocabulary that you could use, then learn that vocabulary, actually practice it, like how we practice for a skit where you practice your lines.
Yeah.
Do exactly that. Especially this is for those who get really, really nervous and it affects their ability to speak at all. So for them, make the sentences, act it out as if you are in a skit or a play. So once you act it out, exactly how you will say it, when you will say what, how you'll react to something else, then when that situation actually happens, you're already prepared.
Yeah.
So for someone who has extreme anxiety, that's something that will definitely work. And over and above that, just work on your mindset. Tell yourself that you're doing well and reassure yourself. Don't wait for someone else to come do that, because no one else will know the struggle that you are going through. And reassure yourself that you're doing really well. And when you start telling yourself that, you will start feeling that, you will start thinking that, and automatically you will start being that. So it's almost like manifesting that into existence is by saying this over and over again. And you will, if you tell yourself you're a pro at speaking, you will become one. Of course, you can't just keep saying, oh, I'm going to be a pro and then do nothing else. But it will make all those other steps that you're taking more, effective. So that this in my opinion will really help anyone who struggles with anxiety, especially when it comes to speaking, whether it's public speaking or speaking in small groups or small settings as well.
Yeah, I completely agree. That's like a good guiding steps that you have provided. Divyam.
I think when we come to a broader perspective of taking the first step, okay, I agree with all of Keesha's points. Obviously, she is also an expert in this topic, so it's good. On a more casual note, I would say if you are trying to step into this, what I can say is initially a scary journey because you don't know what is going to happen, right? Baby steps always very important. Okay, try to dip your toe into the water to see how it feels. Start off with a couple of movies or shows that you understand, right? The best thing that you can do is start to develop your a love for something. It could be anything. Okay, I'll give an example. So there are a couple of learners I had where they hated reading books, or I would tell them to read newspapers or books because they were in the finance industry, right? They started off with something really simple. They started watching stand-up comedy, like Americans and Britishers just doing stand-up comedy, and they liked that it was light-hearted and that there were references and that it was a little casual and it wasn't like heavy words and try to understand a lot of things, right? So when they started developing that love, every time they had to watch something, it was not like, oh my god, I have to watch it and I have to struggle and I have to put myself through that. They were excited. They were like, oh, I can't wait for the new episode to come out. Right? I can't wait to see what topics he's talking about or what issues he's tackling. So I think that love is really important because at the end of the day, human behavior is just like, okay, if you don't like doing something, you're not going to be excited to do it.
Yeah.
Then it becomes like a very tedious task.
Yeah.
Find something you love, experiment, try a lot of things in the beginning. Okay, it's not like flicking a switch. It's not like you're going to start and instantly love something or start and instantly see improvement. It's a very slow journey, but if you're lucky, you find something that you love instantly and then you can move on. And another thing is just make sure you focus on staying calm. Okay, because a lot of people, they start panicking a lot when one sentence goes wrong or maybe they use an incorrect word. So what happens is they finish that sentence and at the end of the sentence in their mind they're like, oh no, I made a mistake in that previous sentence. And because they're thinking that while talking about the next thing, they're making a mistake in that.
Yeah.
So it's like a domino effect. It just keeps getting worse and worse. So take a second, take a minute, take a breath, just relax, reset yourself, and then start again. And obviously, like Keesha said, this advice counts for people who are trying to be presenters, just get better at work, or just have casual conversations with their friends, or like in a new country. These pieces, right? This advice is applicable to all of them.
Yeah.
So just take the first step and don't be scared to make mistakes.
Yeah, I agree. So, like, this is quite helpful, honestly, personally for me also, because I also struggle with speaking anxiety sometimes. So, I think this was a really helpful session, and I hope this also helps our learners and all our viewers. And so, yeah, I think I'll see you guys in our next episode. Yeah.
Yes, thank you, Sanika. It was lovely talking to you.
Yeah.
Thank you. I hope that our discussion helps as many people as who watch it or learn something from it. So I hope this has been helpful.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
Thank you.
Okay, bye everybody. Hey everyone, I hope that you learned something in that session and that you can genuinely apply all the things that we shared related to anxiety and public speaking, because it's honestly all about practice. The more you practice, the more confident you feel, and there would come a point when you won't even have to think about, you know, speaking or just making a good impression on someone, because that will automatically happen. If you want more such conversational advices from me, from Divyam, from Keesha, and a lot of our other speakers, we are coming up with a lot of new podcast episodes in the coming weeks, and you can subscribe to our channel to keep a track on them. And if there are any other topics that you would like us to cover in our episodes, we are more than happy to listen to them. Till then, happy learning. See you in the next episode.